The lesson today is on the Weddell seals of the Antarctic. Right here, and there's a picture of what they look like. They are adorable little seals. And we're going to be making them out of clay. And this is one that I have done that's dry. We're going to be making them out of clay, and we're also going to be putting, once they're dry, we're going to be putting little glass beads in the dish after we make our dish. And then when it goes in the kiln and fires, the glass beads will melt around the seal. This is a penguin example from my penguin lesson. But they'll melt around the seal, forming the oceans of the Antarctic, the cold, frigid waters that the seal lives in. So to get started, I'm going to show you very quickly how to make this seal. I'm going to first start off to make the what's going to be the iceberg here, the little dish that he's going to be sitting in. And in this example, what I did was I made half the seal. So if you want to have him just peeking out of the dish, you can. And of course, these little beads aren't melted yet. This is ready to go in the kiln. And I also put in a little bit of a fish because he feeds on the fish. He was just in the ocean fishing, and he caught this, hopped up out of the ice onto the ice and placed his little fish there, and he's ready for dinner. So that's what this one's all about. So let's start off with the dish, and we're going to go ahead and take this is about 1.5 inch, 2 inch cube of clay or blob of clay, and I'm not going to change the size of it and roll it in a ball first. I'm just going to press it. And I'm going to press this, and this is going to be the iceberg, and I'm going to press it so that it's as thick as my pinky finger. And it doesn't matter what the shape is, you just want it to be as thick as your finger. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold up the edges just by taking my thumb, putting it on the side, and bending up. Thumb on the side, bend up, and you're going to do that all around. I have another video on exactly how to do this. If you don't know how to make a dish, you can view that, as well as some art technique videos on how to roll balls and coils and cubes and cones. So if you don't know parts of this video, learn about them first before you go ahead and attempt this. The next step is to take this is 1.5 inch ball or cube of clay that I started with, and I'm going to pinch off a blueberry size, or approximately a blueberry size, we can change that later, and pinch off a grape, which is about the thickness of your thumb, and that's a 3D sphere or ball for a grape. The volume of a grape is what you're pinching off, and the volume of a blueberry is what you're pinching off. The rest is going to be rolled in a very quick ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all you need. And then we're going to, I'm trying to go fast because there's a lot to do. Then we're going to go back and forth and make a barrel. This is a speed version of this. And you want the barrel to be as long as your pinky finger and as thick as a hot dog, which is about 1 inch thick here. And then I'm going to assess which end is the best, and this end has a solid opening. This one I didn't like this for my head, this area, so I'm picking this side, and I want to round this with my fingers. I'm just pressing the clay so that his top is rounded, okay? And then you can even tap the clay to round that. And then the back, I'm going to just pinch, because I don't like that hole in there. And I'm going to slowly taper this by pinching and turning. Pinching and turning. What I'm forming is the tail. And his tail, he's got 2 sides to the tail, 2 flippers. And they're actually almost heart shape here. This actually dips in. So I'm going to take and roll this to smooth out his body. Just lightly roll it. Now I am slightly longer. Whoops. I am slightly longer than my index finger. And then what I'm going to do is split the tail, just like this. Open it up slightly. Any crumbs, and I've used a wood tool for splitting. Any crumbs, mine's not exactly, but that's okay. And then I'm going to press this in a little and flatten it slightly. And then he has a little bit of a, with a wood tool, I'm just putting in, I'm not slicing through, I'm just pressing in a design. Kind of like separate areas in here. And then I'm going to give him a tug, bend up the tail, and now I'm going to work on the little face. Take your blueberry, roll it quickly, 2 seconds, and then if you use a little bit of water, wet this or use some slip. Now, I'm not wetting the tip right in here. I'm going slightly down at an angle and I'm rubbing this in, adding my slip, then taking the blueberry, pressing it on, tapping it, and I'm going to really tap the bottom edges, tapping here, and then I'm going to blend in right here and here. I want to seal this, so if I seal it, seal the seal, I'm going to seal him, seal the edges by smearing it together, otherwise this will fall right off. So he has a little profile. There's his little profile here. Now to do the face, here's his little face here. And to do the face, you press in. I'm going to do his nose first. So if I look at this as the center, I'm going to go up toward the top center, and I'm going to press in straight and diagonally to the right. The other nostril's pressed in and diagonal to the left. It almost forms a V. Then I'm going to take a paper clip and I'm going to press in straight. Oops. Not too deep now. And then I'm using the curve of the paper clip to give a little bit of a curve at the bottom. See? It's kind of like his little opening of his mouth or smile. I can take a little tiny pinch of this to make his bottom chin, the leftover clay. And this is about 1/2 of a Skittle. This is very small. It's not even the size of a pea. I'm going to stick on for his bottom chin. Press that in. I've got some real wet clay here, so it's really working nice. So I didn't need to slip that. That just gives him a little bit of a bottom chin. And then the eyes, I'm taking just a wood tool. You can use a pencil. And don't put them close together. They're kind of on the side area of his head. 1 and 2. And I kind of rock it. And now the flippers. The remaining clay, break in half, roll into 2-second balls, 2-second balls, then barrels. And like I said, I have a video that shows you how to make barrels if you don't know how to make them. And then barrels, and then just one end of the barrel, I'm going to turn it into a cone. One end of the barrel, these are the flippers. Here's the cone. So I've got 2 cones. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press them flat, and these seals flippers are not pointed on the end. So we take our tool, I'm just going to cut that off, and cut this off, the points. It's tapered, they're tapered, going wide to narrow, and then there's his ends. Now, if you place them from the eye on the side of his body, go on down, and I'm placing them right about there. If you add a little slip first, oops, forgot the slip, scrub it in. This helps stick it. If you have real wet clay, you don't have to do this part. Depends on how your instructor would like it. Rub it in. Stick it. And then assess it. Make sure it's the size before you fully rub it all in. And then what you're going to do is position him in the dish. I like having the tail flipped up. And I'm going to have him coming out of the iceberg because this is going to represent the iceberg. So I flip up, curl up my tail, and I have him resting on the iceberg with his little flippers. And I want the tail up there. Now you can attach the little, if you want to make some, if you have time, you can make what he feeds on. I think he feeds on some octopus. I saw fish. I have his little food chain here of what he actually feeds on. It was octopus, fish. Oh, let's see. It looked like some kind of, I don't know if it was shrimp or, yeah. It was, here's his food chain right here. It was krill, squids, fish, and octopus. So these are his favorite foods. So if you want to add any of those, if you have time, you can add his little food to the little dish, like he's hopping up and just came out of the ocean. And that's how you make the little Weddell seal.